Hi, everybody. Hello. Oh my goodness, on a Saturday morning. Thank you so much for being here. And also, thank you so much to Mags BC for inviting me to chat to you all about allyship. So, letting you know, I am in Napanee, Ontario right now. So, this is the traditional lands of the Mohawk of the Bay of Kinty. So, can we all be in agreement that these are really scary times? Yeah. And it's so funny that every time I present a speech of this nature, I usually start with that. These are scary times. And every time I present it, it gets scarier and scarier. Yeah. So it means a lot to me that you are here and we can take this time together to stop doom scrolling and help empower each other. I am honored to live and work on this land. I am of Filipino, Spanish, Chinese, and Indian descent and married into the Navajo Nation. As a settler, as a visitor to this land, I identify as a treaty person, observing the dish with one spoon treaty. I am committed to a lifetime of treading softly on this land and listening carefully to the demands of Indigenous people of Turtle Island. I am grateful for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action. Since we are artists, I urge you to read all actions, in particular, call to action number 86. We can consider how this can be adapted into the organizations we are a part of and also our artistic practice. Oftentimes in these difficult conversations around how this nation was founded on genocide, I hear folks say again and again, well, just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Well, my friends, the commission did just that. Please consider the hours, days, months, years of investigation, interviews, and data gathered, and the emotional labor of sharing traumatic truths over and over again for this report. If you live and love on Turtle Island, it is your duty to observe these calls to action and vote for leaders who will do the same. I urge us all to consider the ways in which we have been complicit in the ongoing genocide of Indigenous people of Turtle Island and how we can become accomplices in the undoing of those systems. So, just to let you know, this will not be the standard anti-oppression speech where we can all nod. Yeah, we all know those events, right? Say that we attended, yeah, and we can feel good about ourselves. In fact, some of it might not feel good at all. It doesn't feel good that I have to continue doing this kind of work, but I'd rather make friends with my discomfort than pretend things are okay when they aren't. And this is a big conversation. I say conversation instead of presentation or speech because throughout the time that I am speaking to you, I will ask you to be in conversation with your own body. I'm sure many of you are wondering, like, why this? Like, on a Saturday, like, why does it matter? Well, I'll tell you why. So, since most of us are part of an industry of storytelling, where storytellers inspire opinions of our readers, it's a conversation that may change minds. It may help people thrive. It may save lives. If that's not what you want to do, that is okay. This work is best done when you are ready. You have agency here. Please leave and sign off if you need to so that the rest of us can do the work. So I'm going to ask you to not type anything in the comments section or even take notes. What your body does over the next while will be very important for you to observe. Sometimes when we are dealing with difficult subject matters, our body's first instinct is to distract ourselves. So what I am asking you to do is to part with the distractions and be very truthful with yourself. So let's all take a moment to turn off any distracting devices. Find a comfortable position, sitting or standing, and breathe. Being an ally isn't an identity you can obtain like a Costco membership. Yeah, I know. I wish it was. I mean, you can't just get some laminated card and call it a day. I'm sorry. It's a lifelong journey, and it must begin in the body. I learned this in 2017 during a speech by Black playwright Donna Michelle St. Bernard, where she encouraged white folks to look behind them, to see who trailed them because of the space they occupied artistically, economically, and socially. I sat behind this white man with his hands behind his head, leaning back so he was inches away from my face. And I'm like serious, like he was really inches away. And he rigorously nodded to show that he was progressive. Exasperated, I finally stage whispered, "Move your arms. We can't see. Look behind you." And he sat up, lowered his arms, and continued to nod at Donna Michelle's speech. And this moment taught me that allyship means nothing if it doesn't start from the body. Embodied allyship means believing with your whole body that each of us deserve to live and love equally, and to live those beliefs everywhere from conversations to organizational structures to government policies. As some of you may know, I have worked for many years as a playwright and performer. And after surviving abuse from a theater institution where my stories as a brown woman were devalued and dismissed, I committed to decolonizing my practice. For over 2 decades, I've worked to empower marginalized artists to trust their ability to tell their truth in a world that focuses on white, able-bodied, cisgender, heterosexual lives. And to foster their safety, I also work to create a world in which they are held with respect. And that means that I have to wade through countless difficult conversations to encourage sincere and sustainable change. And that's far from easy for any of us, including myself. Just watch. So I want you to pat your head if you've witnessed a racialized person being harassed and you didn't intervene. Good. I want you to touch your elbows if a disabled person called you out on not including them and you denied your responsibility. Now I want you to put your hands on your belly if you witnessed the Black Lives Matter protests and did nothing. Now blink twice if you were too ashamed or enraged to follow any of these instructions. Yeah, yeah. All of those sensations running through your body are real and by design. White supremacy teaches people from birth to disconnect from their bodies and from the painful truth around them, that some lives are valued more than others. Yeah. When I have these conversations with privileged people, I see a range of reactions, a wide range of reactions. Maybe you're experiencing them right now, and that is totally fine. Sometimes I see a reddening of the face, like, I've been found out. No one must know about my mistakes. I'm just gonna hold my breath and clench my jaw until this workshop is over, right? Yep, some of you are probably feeling that. Maybe some of you are feeling a tightening around the lips, like, not me. I need facts. Prove my privilege to me. There is zero proof that what you're saying is true. Me? Never. Yeah, some of you might be experiencing that. Maybe you're experiencing, this one's my favorite and definitely the most familiar for myself, is dissociation. I'm just gonna, just tune out until this brown lady goes away. And I'm just gonna make myself really small and I will disappear. Yeah, I'm sure some of you are feeling that too. And some of you might feel tears coming on, like, oh my God, I feel sorry for me. I feel awful this is happening, so I'm gonna just cry and distract everyone from this truth I've been hiding. And if I cry, people will think I'm on the right side of history. Yeah, I've done that too. It's totally fine that you're having those reactions, okay? Does this ring true? Yeah? What's going on in your body right now? Is it hot? Is it cold? Stinging? Buzzing? Does it have a color, those feelings that you have inside of your body? For me, the sensation is usually in my throat and in my solar plexus, and it's usually red hot. I say this to build awareness. Those knee-jerk reactions are an opportunity for true change. Civil unrest is the price we pay for superficial, insincere relationship building. True allyship is a combination of critical analysis, body awareness, and embodied action. Yeah, I'm going to say that again. True allyship is a combination of critical analysis, body awareness, and embodied action. Okay? But what would it take to get people to embody allyship? This was the question I explored while writing my second novel. Crosshairs is about racialized, queer, trans, disabled, and elderly folks learning to take arms against a fascist regime. In a context where these people are put into workhouses after environmental and financial devastation, I have to admit that it was difficult to imagine how allies could change the tide. I was inspired by my partner, Nazba Tom. As a generative somatics practitioner, Nazba teaches gestures and movements that help people improve their relationships with others and heal from trauma. Movements are practiced regularly to help people do things such as communicate and to set boundaries. And I thought, well, can people practice movements to learn allyship? I imagined allies doing movements while speaking the following creed. When I do not act, I am complicit. When I know wrong is happening, I act. When the oppressed tell me I am wrong, I open my heart and change. When change is led by the oppressed, I move aside and uplift. Since white supremacy is instilled in us daily, any counter practice must also be daily, right? Much like committing to a practice of yoga or binge watching your favorite TV show. So to begin your daily practice of allyship, let's wake up our bodies, okay? Rub our hands together. Especially on I don't know where you all are, but it is pretty cold here in Ontario today. Let's go in. Rub our body, starting with our arms. What we're doing is we are rubbing the surface of our bodies, allowing ourselves to feel things. Okay. I imagine for many of us, it has been a long time since we have actually been touched by others. So I want you to be present in this touch. Allow yourself to be alive in this moment. Take this seriously. Rub the surface of your skin. Let's rub the bottoms of our feet. Our legs. Work up from the calves to your thighs on both sides. Don't forget your stomach. And our back. And our neck, our chest. And our head, our face. Good. Shake it off. And breathe. Feel your feet connected to the ground, the floor beneath your feet, the concrete in the foundation of the building where you are in, down through the earth, connecting all the way down, all the way through, following the roots of the trees around us, all the way down to the center of the earth, the liquid center of the earth, staying connected. Breathe. Good. Now, let's consider the first two lines of the Allyship Creed. When I do not act, I am complicit. When I know wrong is happening, I act. What are the first images that come to mind for these lines? When have you been complicit? When have you acted? I want you to replay the first image that comes to mind. Don't write anything down. Be in your body. Take a moment to remember where you were, what you saw. How did your body react? For me, it's this. So 3 years ago, I was driving when I saw 4 cop cars surround one unarmed Black woman. They handcuffed her over a traffic violation. And I felt frozen, in denial. And to move past this, I had to repeat the lines from the creed over and over and over again. I was witnessing police brutality. I wish I could tell you I immediately intervened, but I grew up surrounded by anti-Black sentiments. I was taught that we were the better brown people because we were hardworking. In insidious, often untold ways, I was taught to never date a Black person, that they were dangerous, dirty, that they could not be trusted. And those teachings are still alive and well in my body. Even admitting that to you all today, it makes me burn with shame. I feel it now saying this to all of you. I had to fight through this shame in my chest and a stiffness in my arms to reach into my pocket and record the altercation on my phone. And recognizing what I felt in my body is what helped me center this woman's safety. And once the police saw that I was recording the altercation on my phone, they immediately stopped and let the woman go. So let's do a gesture together that embodies these first two lines. When I do not act, I am complicit. When I know wrong is happening, I act. When you do this movement, what are the first images, experiences that come to mind? Keep the movement going. Keep breathing. Some things you might be feeling, maybe indifference, embarrassment, shame. Let's remember these sensations. It's not a fraction as uncomfortable as being oppressed. Are you moving at all? If not, ask yourself why. Good. Shake it off. Breathe. Moving on to the next line. When the oppressed tell me I am wrong, I open my heart and change. It takes humility to be checked on our privilege, and that includes me. I like to include my journey a lot, if you don't notice, when I do these talks, because people are often confused that someone like me even has privilege. And I do. And I know that if I can admit to the privilege I possess, I will make it easier for you to admit yours. So, I am a woman. And while I walk through this world being racialized, even though my parents immigrated to this country in the fallout of martial law in the Philippines, I am also a cisgender person who does not have to explain my gender to people. And when I cover my tattoos, I can navigate this world with way more safety than people who are visibly queer. I have always had access to water. I have never had CAS or the residential school system threaten to dismantle any generation of my family. Nope. And although I have been harassed by cops, I can also share space with them with relative safety if I play by the rules and keep quiet. So, as someone with this amount of privilege, it is my duty to work as hard as I can to ensure the safety of those with less privilege than me. Not only dismantling the systems that continue to oppress certain communities, but admitting my complicity in those systems. And that means I will make mistakes. Guaranteed. I will make mistakes again and again. And I have curated a community around me who are gracious enough to correct me when I can do better. It is with their generosity that I am here before you today, being generous with all of you. So when someone corrects us, how can we listen with our entire bodies and let that generosity inspire us to change? And if not, let us ask ourselves, who taught us that our opinions, our actions, our very presence is more important than others? It's a big question, yeah? Let's do a gesture together that embodies that line. When the oppressed tell me I am wrong, I open my heart and change. What are the first images, experiences that come to mind while doing this gesture? Let's remember the sensation of being wrong. Keep that movement going. Yeah, let's remember the sensation. It's a fraction of the shame you feel when you are silenced and forgotten by history. Is it getting harder to do the movements? Yeah. Clock any resistance to what we are doing. Just clock it. Don't judge it. Just clock it. So the line isn't, when the oppressed tell me I am wrong, I explain myself. Or when the oppressed tell me I am wrong, I ignore them because I know better. Or when the oppressed tell me I am wrong, I make them work really hard to prove that I am in fact right. No, but the next time you are being corrected, try saying thank you. And that's all. And that's what this movement feels like, to me at least. It feels like gratitude and humility. Good, shake it off. Breathe. Breathe. Moving on to the next line. When change is led by the oppressed, I move aside and uplift. In an effort to cover our shame, we may take up space in social justice movements by performing rather than embodying allyship, showcasing our charity, or crying, or talking over oppressed people, posting statements of solidarity, even though our organizations haven't truly embodied change. You've seen a lot of that over the last few years, especially after the murder of George Floyd. We've all seen it. So, what is the cost of our invisibility in those movements? Like right now, if no one knew you had attended this workshop, what would be the value of you learning these skills? If no one on your social media feed knew about the new things you learned, would you even put these new skills into motion? What is your intention for learning these skills? And could the intention be to ensure that we all have the right to live and love with equal access to resources? And would that intention remain if it meant that the best way to serve oppressed communities is to step aside and let their voices shine? That's big, right? That's so big. It's uncomfortable knowing the price of inclusiveness means not only leveraging your privilege, but giving up privilege altogether. Whew, breathe, shake it. Shake it out, breathe. It's a lot. It's a lot. So let's do a gesture together that embodies the line. When change is led by the oppressed, I move aside and uplift. What are the first images or experiences that come to mind while doing this gesture? It may feel empty passing the energy to others, but it's a fraction of what oppressed people feel when their identities, their labor are stolen. Breathe. Where do you feel discomfort? Yeah, good. Let it go. Shake it out. Where do you feel your discomfort on your body? What is its color? Is it spiky, buzzing, tingly, numb? What is its temperature? Good. You are alive. So let's do all the movements together while saying the creed. Are you ready? Okay. Ground yourself. Breathe. When I do not act, I am complicit. When I know wrong is happening, I act. When the oppressed tell me I am wrong, I open my heart and change. When change is led by the oppressed, I stand aside and uplift. Good. Rub your skin. Rub your skin. You are a feeling human being. Does that feel different from posting a black square on your social media? Does it feel different from just wearing an orange t-shirt? I hope so. I hope you feel empowered rather than helpless. I hope you feel that hope lives and breathes in your own body so that the next time you see wrong happening, which happens often in our industry, you know you have the power to change things. You have the ability to stop performing and start acting. Let's practice these movements every day. Let's use these movements to create revolutions in our interactions, both big and small. To end our time together, I will leave you with the following excerpt from Crosshairs, where Hannah begs her son to stay home and not join the uprising. Hannah changed her tactics. Why do you and Liv need to lead this fight? Why can't we leave this uprising to them? It's different, Mom. Beck held his mother's shoulders and stared deep into her eyes. We're not leading it. What we're doing has been planned by activists who have fought their entire lives. Everything from what we are saying in our chant to how we're moving when we say that chant has been guided by them. They have done that work. And believe me, Mom, they had to do a lot of work on me to get me where I am now. I will continue to do that work on myself and those around me for the rest of my life. And you know what? It feels good. It feels good to wake up and stop pretending. It feels good to not be afraid, to not set myself apart, not to defend what wasn't mine in the first place. Hannah looked around helplessly. But why my son? Why do you have to fight? What if you die? What will happen then? I might not have a life to live. You might not have a life to live. She attempted to embrace Beck to soften his approach, but he held firm. Mom, I need you to understand that for me, even having a choice to fight is a gift. People are being raped, killed, taken away from their children, being forced into workhouses. I will not let that continue. I choose to fight. Thank you.